it's important to say this, that for us at the Central Bank of Nigeria, we are not surprised. We are not surprised because, if you recall, Nigeria is just one country that is peculiar for what is, I call a situation that is out of the ordinary. Out of the ordinary because you find Nigeria amongst several countries being one country that is challenged by stagflation. Stagflation is a situation where inflation is running high, prices are running high, and at the same time, output growth, in this case the GDP, is contracting. And if you understand how this works, you will find that as Monetary Policy Committee, your core responsibility is to rein in inflation by ensuring that you keep supreme your price and monetary stability mandate. On the other hand, and to do so means that you have to tighten to be able to rein in inflation. On the other hand, government is confronted, or the economy is confronted, by a contracting output where growth is negative. And the normal way in economics you would want to really recover from a contracting economy is to stimulate the economy with a lot of easing and injecting liquidity into the system to stimulate consumption and investments, increase government expenditure, right? Increase export earnings, and possibly see what you can do to reduce your imports. That is basically the definition of output growth. Y equals C plus I plus G plus X and minus I. That is what you need to do, right? So you find that in doing this, you are seeing a situation where the objectives or goals are moving in opposite direction. But what did we do? We said, at monetary policy, particularly at the last meeting, we said, we will try as much as possible to be pro-growth so as to continue to see what can be done to accelerate output, but at the same time, we are going to keep our eye on whatever can be done to rein in inflation. And in doing this, what did we say? Monetary policy came up at that meeting, last meeting, and said, the penultimate meeting, we said, we are going to adopt a systematic synchronization of monetary policy variables, right, that will help to rein in inflation, but at the same time boost output. At the last meeting, we also said we will go ahead to look, monetary policy encourage the management to say that we should adopt some form of administrative measures to mop up liquidity or to control money supply in the system, and in the process, rein in inflation by reducing the money supply that would help to control inflation, while at the same time, because what you will find is when you rein in inflation by mopping liquidity is that it becomes constraining. But at the same time, on the output side, what should we be doing? Let us use our development finance tools to boost output by ensuring that liquidity and funding is made available at concessionary rates to employment generating and output stimulating sectors of the economy. So you are looking at how do you titrate these variables in a way that you are able to rein in inflation, but at the same time, you also grow output. So that's what we have done. And that is the reason we're saying it's not a surprise to us, but those who do not understand it will say, oh, how is this happening? I'd heard a couple of people, some say, oh, they expected the output to be negative. I had heard some comments by somebody from LCCI, Lagos Chamber of Commerce, saying, oh, what is happening? That manufacturing has not seen enough impetus to begin to say that, that the output growth should be positive. But let me give you some numbers. Like I read at the communique. When the pandemic struck effectively, we said all CBN intervention facilities will now go at 5%. And what we did is also expand that in 2020 1 into March 2022. We asked banks to restructure some of the facilities of companies and businesses that may not be able, that have been impacted adversely by the pandemic. We provided stimulus by saying that we're putting in place, at that time, we initially started 100 billion for targeted first credit facility, increased it to 150 billion. At the last meeting, it was increased to 300 billion because we saw the positive effect this was having on consumption expenditure, right? We also went forward to say that for the health sector, we'll make available stimulus of about 100 billion for some of our pharmaceutical industries that have gone moribund to come back alive, or even expand some of the plans of the existing ones. Or our hospitals, to see what can be done to retool our hospitals so they can provide health facilities. These are all stimulus that are meant to stimulate consumption expenditures, and also investments. Don't forget the formula for GDP, consumption and investment. If we inject liquidity in that direction, normally what will happen on the result side is that output will grow. Okay? We understand government constraints, but at the same time, we're doing everything as well to see what can we do to ensure that goods that can be produced in the country are produced so as to constrain imports and make it difficult for people who want to source forex to bring those things. So those are the things that will naturally result in this. So it is science. For us, it is science to expect that what happened or what is happening now is happening or has happened. On the manufacturing and agri sector, where Lagos Chamber of Commerce, Amuda was talking about, we made available 1 trillion naira. Out of the 1 trillion naira, we've disbursed so far 856 billion naira to 77 light manufacturing, 36 in agro-based industries, and 30 in services, and 11 in mining. These are targeted interventions to support, like we said, employment stimulating and output generating sectors of the economy at intervention rate of 5%, because these were funds that came in through the Cbn DCRR facility. So it's not surprising that we're seeing what we're seeing now. So, but what monetary policy decided we should be doing today is to say, hey, how should we proceed? What are those indicators that led to us having this kind of results? And that is why monetary policy said, hey, let's look at those items, inflation, continue your administrative measures. On the output side, continue to use your interventions and subsidized interest rates to those agriculture, to manufacturing, to the targeted credit facilities, to make sure that we're able to stimulate consumption and investment that will ultimately yield a positive result in growth for the economy. Indeed, out of the targeted credit facility that we have, almost the whole of 300 billion has now been disbursed, and we're expecting, the Monetary Policy Committee has encouraged the management to increase it even to 400. So what does that also mean? More money is going to be made available to households, to small businesses, for them to go back to business, which will ultimately yield employment and also grow our economy. So for us, it is not science. So when people begin to say they doubt what numbers NBS is releasing, I think they are speaking from a position of being uninformed about what is happening in the Nigerian economy. I've always often said it, that the CBN possesses the data, and we have data. As we have the data, we'll read the data to Nigerians for Nigerians to see what we're doing. So what we do expect is that people or policy analysts should ask or demand for data on the basis of which they come up with their conclusions, and not for them to making disparaging comments that tends to create problems for the managers of the economy. Or in the northeastern part. So I am optimistic that the security institutions are doing their best to tackle insecurity. And I must say this, Nigerians know that about 3 years ago, the federal government of Nigeria and the United States government signed a pact that resulted in a government-to-government acquisition of military equipment. out of which we're expecting at least 12 Tucano aircraft or fighter planes that will help us combat security. LCs were opened to the Central Bank of Nigeria and funds were remitted to the United States government. I'm aware that at least 6 of those Tucano aircrafts are going to be coming in the months of July and August. And I therefore would like to appeal to our brothers who decide that they want to live in the bushes and forests, that they should please begin to retreat, drop their arms, and come and embrace Uncle Bora's program. If they do so, it will help them. But if they choose not to do so, then they will be confronted by security as this battle continues. So I'm optimistic that before the end of the year, around the end of the year, the security challenges that confront the country will substantially abate. Like I read earlier about the various interventions that we had put in place. And we said, for us, our 5% for Cbn intervention facilities, we extended to next year. The banks are asking for their loans to be paid back. And in any case, the banks, I must admit, are seeing that there's some improvement in the economy, fragile as it may be. There's some improvement. Crude prices have gone up. So business activities are beginning to regain energy again and life. So if the banks ask for the repayment of their facilities, I think it will be justified. You raised the issue of interest rates, that the banks are charging higher rates. If we admit as CBN that we are controlling money supply. If we control money supply and the banks raise interest rates in what I can call non-employment generating sectors or non-output generating sectors of the economy, we can't fault them because we have our own intervention facilities, right, that are meant to target agriculture and all those SMEs and targeted households, which are meant to stimulate employment and also stimulate output for the country, and we can always make those facilities available at maximum 9% interest rate. So we know what we're doing. So, but if you are going into the kind of ventures that are finished goods, you want to think that what you want to do is to just import anything and everything out of the country into the country, then you pay the price. That is all I can say. It's not about CBN being vindicated and all that. See, we had carried out our own investigation, and we found out that a substantial percentage of what our people are getting involved in cryptocurrency, that it is not the best. Don't get me wrong, some may be legitimate, but I'm standing and sitting before and saying most are illegitimate. And I will corroborate that. Under cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, Nigeria comes second, right? But in the global size of the economy, Nigeria comes 27th. So do you think that there is some correlation? Why would you think those countries whose economies are between 2nd and 26th, they will allow you to grow your cryptocurrency business to 2nd position? Do you understand? If there was something, if what is inside it is a big deal that is going to profit everybody, it's not that simple. We are still conducting our data, we'll make our data available. But what I'm saying is, of course, we saw it, that the market collapsed. Elon Musk, when it came about, said, he tweeted initially sometime about the time we said our banking and payment infrastructure will no longer be available for cryptocurrency transactions. He tweeted he was going to invest, is it 1.5 or $50 billion in crypto? $1.5 billion in crypto, and the rate went to the highest roof. And he now tweeted again and raised a few concerns, and the thing plunged. Elon Musk himself has decided that he will no longer deal in cryptos. So, if the man who felt it was good suddenly decides to say it's no longer good, and then you think you are dealing in... So I was confronted at National Assembly by somebody who said, Central Bank Governor, I deal in $50 million in crypto per week. I said, $50 million per week? where did the dollar come to? Through which bank did the dollar of $50 million per week flow through? And he was looking at me because those dollars did not come into the Nigerian economy. If it doesn't come to the Nigerian economy, I have no reason to believe that it's a legitimate business. Otherwise, if you feel it is money that is legit, $50 million per week, you sit in your house and use computer to do whatever you are doing, and you say you transfer $50 million per week, bring it, let the world see it, so that we can really support you in this transaction. But don't forget, those who invented crypto said it is encrypted. When they say it is encrypted, it means that whatever is happening between me and you is only known to the two of us. And you know what? In case I defraud you, because it's encrypted, you can't even disclose my name. You can't even get your money back. That is not what a responsible central bank will support. I've heard about digital currency. We are working on it. We have set up our committee on CBN, and I can assure everybody that digital currency will come to life even in Nigeria. We did a somersault. We didn't do a somersault. We know what we're doing. We found out that we were no longer dealing in this so-called CBN official rate. All transactions are benchmarked against the NFX. I had read in some places where some said, oh, it's because we had depreciated the currency of stuff and all that. And I came out and said, we did not depreciate the currency. The market, Nigeria still operates a managed float regime, where CBN will observe the market. As it deems fit, depending on its direction or where it thinks the market will be, will intervene in the market to control exchange rate in the market. That's what we're doing. So if you now see again that CBN has written, where it was CBN official rate at 380, it has now become NFX. That NFX that you see today of 410, tomorrow may be 409, the next day may be 411, the third day may be 412, and the next day comes to even 400, because we are monitoring the market. So it is not fixed, but it's not floating, so that you don't misunderstand that I said it's floating. We are still running a managed float where we are monitoring the market and seeing what is happening for us to ensure that the right things are happening for the good of the Nigerian economy. Somebody talked about availability of forex. Gentlemen, $34 billion or $35 billion can support almost close to about 9-10 months of Nigeria's imports and goods or services. I don't know why anybody would worry, and I can only just assure you that we're doing everything to ensure that the Central Bank of Nigeria is able to fund all legitimate domestic import obligations of people who need foreign exchange. And we are not going to shirk our responsibility in this area. There are two things, like I said, two aspects to this. There are intervention facilities granted by the bank, and there are bilateral facilities granted by the deposit money banks to them. They went to deposit money banks. They asked for loan. They signed the offer letters with those banks. They gave their ISPOs to the Federal Minister of Finance that on a monthly basis, Minister of Finance should deduct from their monies and pay the banks for the loan they have taken. And I am aware that the banks have written to finance and they have copied me that they want their money. If it was a bilateral loan agreement, in fact, there's privacy of contract here. I'm not part of it, so they should pay their loans. On the CBN intervention facility to the state governments, we're engaging National Economic Council, and CBN is also insisting on its loan to be paid. But depending on the outcome of engagement between Central Bank, Finance, and National Economic Council, we will begin to take the money. But in any case, it's good for you to be a good debtor. When you take a loan, you pay, so that when you go back to the bank, you can get. But if you refuse to pay, you will never smell the doorstep of the banker again. The Naira for Dollar scheme, yes, we extended it indefinitely. Why? Because we feel that we need to encourage diaspora remittance into Nigeria. Don't forget, I keep saying that I have been reading that the size of diaspora remittance to Nigeria is almost 24 billion, or some say 30 billion. but in the past I've not seen it. But I'm trying to see how I can see it. And the only way I can see it is that I should encourage those who think they want to hide to bring it out. So that is like an incentive, like a promo. And we decided we're going to do the promo so it can continue, so we can continue to see the flows coming in. And we're hoping, and we have seen the trend that it is rising. Listen, we did this because we feel other countries are doing those kind of incentives. Pakistan, Bangladesh, on a monthly basis, they collect close to $2 billion from diaspora remittances, and they have similar kind of incentives that they put for their citizens in diaspora to inflow monies. And so nothing is wrong with that, and we will continue to do whatever needs to be done to encourage diaspora remittance, because it's one of the 4 areas through which we can encourage flows into the country for us to meet our obligations. Okay, I've responded on cryptocurrency. Ekiti State. Oh yeah, we were in Ekiti State, and I was responding to the accusation that our support is tilted to a particular section of the country, and I debunked it, because, like I said, close almost about 600 billion or so or more had been disbursed to various interventions of the Central Bank of Nigeria, and out of that, at least 300 billion, and we gave data that the 300 billion has been disbursed to the southern part of the country. Yes, we've been to Niger, we've been to Kebbi, we've been to Gobe, we've been to Katsina to launch our pyramids and the 2021 planting season. We were at Ekiti last week. Sometime this week, I will also be even in Rivers State to launch one of our agricultural plants, which is one of the biggest starch processing plants in Nigeria. And what does that mean? That instead of multinationals like Nestle coming to central bank to say that they need foreign exchange to import starch, or to import starch and maybe sorbitol and the rest of them, that this company in Port Harcourt or somewhere in Bayelsa in different parts of the country can also process cassava into starch, which the likes of Nestle can buy. And so that will help us to reduce the import drive for people to begin to say they want to import starch or sorbitol into the country. So it is for, I use the word, our own selfish purpose that we are doing that, because we want to see to how we can produce and consume what we produce in Nigeria rather than importing them, when we know that we can create employment and boost output with those. Daily Trust, as long as we find that what we are doing is yielding results, particularly boosting consumption, expenditure, and investments, we will continue to do so. And that is the reason monetary policy has given us the mandate to say, look, instead of plateauing at 300 billion, move further to 400 billion and support our households and SMEs for them to really begin to do business. Somebody wants a loan of 500,000 naira and he goes to the bank, can't get the loan. We'll make this available for them. And we have received positive testimonials about how this has helped and impacted positively on lives. In fact, we're going to begin to run a TV documentary to show those who have benefited from it and how it is helping them to create jobs for them and also create jobs for other people. So we'll continue to do any of these things because we believe that it will help our economy to grow and everybody will be happy and jobs will be created and the level of insecurity can reduce.